Good morning and happy Monday. It's time for another Mindful Play Monday Live. And today we're going to be working on visualizing our breathing, playing with colors and water, and also looking about how to tune in and be mindful in the present moment. So for this really quick and easy activity, which also doubles as a really fun science experiment as well, all you need is some wax paper and a tray, like a little lunch tray, or a baking sheet would work just as well. You're gonna put your wax paper down the same size as your tray. And then we are using some food dye with our water. If you don't want to use dye, if you've got little ones at home and you don't wanna make a big mess, you can, of course, just use regular clear water. The different colors, we're using primary colors, do add kind of a fun new element to this one as well. So we've got blue, red, and yellow, our primary colors, because we're going to work on a little bit of color mixing as we visualize our breathing. So you'll need those 3 watercolors, or just plain water if you don't want to mix colors, a straw because it's going to help us with our breathing, and then a little pipette or a little dropper here to help you drop the water droplets onto your wax paper. So we're going to be using this as a fun visualization of our breath and how when we change the speed and the strength of our breathing, what that does in our minds and our bodies and our hearts as well, to kind of calm down and regulate ourselves. So once you've got your wax paper down on your tray and your colors, I'm going to try to angle you down here so you can kind of see what we're working with today. Now you can, especially if you're working in like a classroom or a summer camp with multiple children in a larger space, you could unroll a longer piece of your wax paper if you wanted to have multiple children doing this at the same time. So you could have a larger piece and have them working side by side or working on opposite ends of the table and then using their own straws together to kind of work in tandem as a team. There we go. You want to make sure you can see everything that we're working with across the table. So again, if you do have multiple children doing this together, you can use a larger piece of wax paper. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about our breathing, what it does for our body, and then also how when we change the speed and the strength of our breathing, how that can help us slow down, calm our nervous system, and kind of recalibrate those anxious feelings and those anxious moments. So of course, each child's going to have their own straw here. The first thing you're going to do is take your water droplet. If you're working with just clear, plain tap water, that's fine. If you wanted to do, again, those multiple colors, you're going to pick up one color and you're going to go ahead and put multiple drops all over the wax paper. And this actually reminded me, if you are a millennial, you may remember doing this when you're in the car and it's raining and you're sitting in the back seat and you have nothing else to do. If you recall, as you're driving along, you can see when it's raining, the water droplets from the rain kind of race against each other. So it's similar to what we're going to have here today. So I'm going to take my straw. If you have a bendy straw, you can bend it. Otherwise, just kind of bend over there. And you're going to practice your breathing. Ask those prompting questions. What do you think is going to happen when I blow on the water droplets? And make your predictions. Now you can see if I breathe slowly, but you can kind of zoom in there. The water's really jiggling, but when I breathe really slowly and controlled, it's not moving very fast. If I breathe very hard and quick, look what happens. It's going all over the paper or all across the table. Now, another fun thing you can do with this, of course, visualizing our breathing, but if you have little ones, we always like the magic of color mixing. I'm gonna try to get all the blue there. So what you can do next is take a couple of different colors and, I used the same dropper, so it kind of mixed already, but we can explore what happens when we mix the colors. So I started with my blue water droplets, and I'm gonna add my yellow water droplets, and we're going to turn it into a little game. See if you can actively force your breath and direct it towards the water droplet that you're trying to mix and see what color it's going to make. Ooh, look at that magic that happens right before our eyes. So I'm trying to blow the yellow dots into the blue. Oh, and it turns green right before our eyes. Hopefully you can see that. Should I scoot a little bit closer there? look at that, look what happens. So you can see it's helping us tune into the present moment because I'm really focused with my hand-eye coordination, with my breathing, speed and accuracy and angling and moving this straw to chase the water droplets across the page. To try to connect them and make that new color. So of course you could keep going across the page and see what happens as you mix more and more colors. And try to get some other colors up here. Maybe if I take my different dropper. You can use different droppers for different colors to keep them separated and not spoil the surprise of what you think will happen when certain colors mix. So let's try red and yellow. And we're just gonna line them up here and see what happens. You see kind of down the page there. And we got orange. So this is a really fun, simple color mixing activity that also helps with hand-eye coordination. Again, understanding the strength and direction of our breathing. Tuning into the present moment. And it's also a fun tool that you can then refer back to. So as with most of our Mindful Play Monday activities, we say to kind of prep these ahead of time and do them throughout the week when your child is or your students are already regulated. So this is something, of course, if you're having a meltdown, you're not going to have the time to put together this whole activity. So the reason that we do these things each week is we're going to prep ourselves with the tools in our toolbox. So you're going to do this activity just whenever you like, as part of your day camp or as part of your summer just fun activities. You could even do it outside on the water table, mixing the colors and then also exploring the different speeds and strengths of our breathing. And then when we are in those times of dysregulation, we need the support, we need those tools. We're going to refer back to and say, oh my gosh, I see you're really struggling right now. It is really hard sometimes to just calm down and try to center ourselves. Hey, do you remember when we did that really cool water droplet activity where we were mixing the colors and we were chasing the water drops across the page? Do you remember what that felt like? I wonder if you can remember what that felt like. Yeah, let's practice our breathing like that. So even if you don't have your straw, even if you don't have the activity right in front of you, because you have planned ahead, because you have prepped those activities, because you have done them together when you're already in a calm state, having that to refer back to is going to be a great tool to help you in those times of need. And of course, it's a fun science experiment too to see what those colors make. And you can have races and chase them across the paper as well. It's also a fun one too, like I mentioned, if you remember as a kid during a rainstorm, if you were in the car and you were driving and you would see the water droplets kind of race across the window, you can encourage your children, especially if they are a little more nervous or they don't like rain, you can say, hey, we're going to focus on the raindrops and see which one's going to win and kind of chase them across the window. And that's kind of a fun way to tune into the present moment and be mindful, as well as take away some of those fears and anxieties of being in the rain and driving in the storm as well. So give it a try. And I will have this recording up here shortly for us on our YouTube channel as well as our Instagram. Now I just want to let you know this is going to be our last live Mindful Play Monday for the month of June. There are 2 weeks left, but next week we have a little day trip planned, so we will be away from our devices and away from the Wi-Fi, and then the following week I will be gone as well. So no more live sessions. I will try to pre-record a few activities and quick ideas that you can implement throughout your week ahead of time, but look for that coming soon. We'll have some pre-recorded content and then back with more live activities in the month of July. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your week and a great rest of June. We'll be back in July with more live fun, but stay tuned on our Instagram page for all the learning, play, and mindful ideas all summer long. Have a good one.